chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Well, what do you know? Good afternoon, one and all. Welcome to your friends and family, near and far. It's Monday. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks, Voices of the Islands, Conversations for the World, and the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. I'm Sabrina. Welcome, one and all. And it's good to be here with you, as I know it takes a lot of energy to just get going on a Monday, but I hope so far that your Monday has been going well, off to a good start, and you're optimistic in making sure that you have a productive work week. Yes. You always got to give thanks. You know how it goes. But I'm happy to be back here with you. To say I didn't get off to a regular, typical Monday start. Yes, I did. From answering emails, just catching up with a lot of my people. I got a routine, keep me in the role of going things. And then, of course, it's all about balance. Everything that's going on in the headlines. Oh, God, it's depressing, to say the least. Very depressing. Very, very depressing. And, we saw even here locally, over the weekend, you saw where it was rumored that gas would hit $7 a gallon. And that spread very quickly. It hit hard and caused somewhat of a panic. And yes, it turned out to be a rumor. But tonight, we're asking the question that really matters. What if one day it isn't? I even had the conversation with some families and friends, and they're like, $7? Have they seen the price tags over in the sister islands? Oh, wow. Yeah. Because with everything happening around the world, from conflicts to shipping disruptions to rising costs and inflation, global instability included. Yes. Again, I've used this line on Sabrina Speaks numerous times that we're not insulated. Yeah. And we could feel the ripple. So even now, that rumor was dispelled. But what if? What if? We know we feel every shock. And if we don't understand the pressures shaping our cost of living, we can't prepare for the eventualities of it coming and being the truth. So yes. If you want to jump in live on the discussion today and to give us your opinions, of course, by WhatsApp and whatever social media platform you're streaming us live on, the number is 345-936-8255 to join in live on the conversation, or you can send me a WhatsApp. I'll do my best with getting all of them, and definitely, as I do, with posting your comments here on screen. But the content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and our participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for your specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any discussions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. Welcome, 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 one and all. It's good to be with you this evening. Let's take a quick look at this evening's weather. Compliments of our friends there at the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Lots to unpack here this evening and lots to look forward to from what I'm seeing. Isolated showers are possible tonight across the Cayman area as a prefrontal trough develops across the region, with moisture being drawn in from the southern Caribbean. A significant uptick in shower activity is likely from Tuesday morning as a frontal boundary begins to clash with this feature and stalls across the Northwest Caribbean. Now, thunderstorm advisory will be in effect from Tuesday morning. There will be a high tide this evening at 8:14, a low tide at 2:23 a.m., and another high at 8:26 tomorrow morning. The sun will set this evening at 6:34 and sun will rise tomorrow morning at 6:32. The outlook is calling for a continued increase in shower activity through most of this week as the frontal boundary remains stationary across the Northwest Caribbean. Now, numerous of showers with scattered thunderstorms and periods of rains are all likely from Tuesday through Thursday, with some of these showers being heavy at times. So that's hack wisely. If you're going to be out on the roads, that's something for you to be conscious of because rain is in the forecast for tomorrow morning for all of those kids going to school and those who have to walk to the bus stops. You see what the forecast is calling for. Prepare. And parents, you may actually want to make some arrangements as well. So we're going to keep it locked and definitely keep you up to speed with all that is happening in our weather. And of course, we encourage you for more details, go on to the Cayman Islands National Weather Service and always keep in check with your local media stations for more developing weather and so much more. That takes us into the afternoon news right here on Sabrina Speaks. Keeping it local, we begin with government news. The Cayman Islands government says it remains committed to transparency and has now published the full summary of the cabinet meeting held on March 4th. At that cabinet meeting, the cabinet confirmed the tabling of government motions recommending a constitutional amendment, one that would guarantee dedicated parliamentary representation for the five traditional districts, clarify the role of the Advisory District Council, and establish a select committee to modernize the Advisory District Council Act. Cabinet also approved changes to the Articles of Association for the Insurance Managers Educational Scholarships Foundation, and they issued drafting instructions for amendments to the Airports Authority Act and signed off on updates to the Notary Public's Amendment Bill and the Criminal Records Spent Convictions Amendment Bill. Now, the full summary is available at gov.ky. Let's turn our attention over to education. The Cayman Islands government has allocated $9 million to UCCI to support major expansions under its 2024 Campus Master Plan. The announcement came during a presentation ceremony hosted by the Ministry of Education and Training on March the 11th. The funding will support land acquisition, architectural planning, land preparation, and the early stages of construction, all aimed at strengthening local access to higher education and preparing the institution for long-term growth. Now, officials say the investment positions UCCI to meet the needs of the rapidly developing Cayman. More on local news, we turn our attentions over to the courts. 5 residents have filed 2 separate lawsuits against a pair of property development companies, alleging the firms collected hundreds of thousands of dollars in deposits for homes that were never built. According to the filings, the companies also failed to repay the money, even after signing settlement agreements promising to do so. The plaintiffs are seeking repayment and damages, and the cases are expected to draw significant attention as they move through the courts. More updates will follow as the matter progresses. Now let's take a quick look over across our region. Across the Caribbean, regional leaders are continuing high-level discussions on climate resilience, food security, and inter-island transportation. CARICOM officials say improving regional mobility remains top priority, with several proposals now under review to strengthen air and sea links across member states. Meanwhile, tourism arrivals continue to trend upwards across multiple islands, signaling steady economic recovery as the region prepares for the upcoming travel seasons. Analyst says the Caribbean remains one of the strongest performers in the global tourism market. And internationally, international global markets are trading cautiously today as investors monitor inflation pressures and ongoing geopolitical tensions. Economists say the mixed performance reflects uncertainty heading into the next quarter, with several major economies signaling slower than expected growth. More on international news. The U.S. State Department has announced a major change for Americans looking to give up their citizenship. After years of legal battles and pressures from advocacy groups, the department has slashed the renunciation fee by about 80%, dropping it from $2,350 to just $450. The new fee took immediate effect following the publication of a final rule in the Federal Register and restores the cost to the level first set back in 2010. Officials says this move is intended to ease financial barriers for Americans living abroad. And in other international news, Emirates temporarily suspended all flights to and from Dubai today, March 16th, after a drone strike near Dubai International Airport that triggered a major security response. Now, the incident caused a fuel tank fire and forced authorities on the ground to ground all aircrafts, prompting Emirates to urge passengers not to travel to the airport and to monitor official updates. Now, the airline says safety remains its highest priority, and flights will only resume once authorities confirm that conditions are safe. And in other global news, diplomacy world leaders are renewing calls for stability in multiple conflict zones as humanitarian agency warns of worsening conditions on the ground. Now, negotiations continue, but progress will remain limited. And there we go. That ends today's news, local, regional, and international news, making the Sabrina's top picks for today. Hey, welcome, one and all. How y'all doing? I'm seeing you coming in slowly but surely, hoping your Monday is going well. Welcome to this episode of Sabrina Speaks as we keep the spotlight and continue to grow this space. You know, we are streaming live on another YouTube channel right there, and I posted the links up for you so you can share those just in case you're missing us. But yeah, it's good to be back with you all today. It's that time where we pay special attention and bring belated birthday shout outs to those celebrating a birthday this weekend. Look at that one. Yeah, thank you for all of you who shared the love yesterday. My Aunt Georgette, she celebrated her birthday yesterday, and yeah, a whole month of celebration, not even a day. She's going to take the whole month and celebrate. Not even a week. She's doing a whole month. Big shout outs to you. Blessings forever. May you live to see many, many more. And I hope that you got that whole front end repaired with them 2 new Ferrari knees. So we're going to tear up the dance floor for the rest of the month. Yes, I did that to you, and I will probably pay dearly for that. Happy birthday, Georgette, from all of us on the Sabrina Speaks family. And also, I think, Melanie as well. Happy birthday to you, who celebrated your birthday yesterday as well. And today we share the stage, all of us here from the Sabrina Speaks family. He didn't answer, but I did do it. I'm going to jump right in. Happy birthday, Arnold. Yeah, all these years, I got it right. I got it right. Happy birthday from all of us here at the Sabrina Speaks family. Wishing you many, many, many more birthdays. Look at you, Mr. DGQ. From all the family over there in Rotan, the Bay Islands, John, everyone near and far, the United States, wherever they are, we're sending you lots of love on your special day. From the girls, all the nieces, all the nephews, the brothers, your sisters. Oh my God, the family. Everyone, even corporate Cayman sends you lots of love, and you can still share your comments below if you want to send out birthday wishes to anyone. And of course, you can always WhatsApp me. I got permission recently, and I just do a general one. But yeah, for people that I know won't take it personal, I actually do this to them. Yes, because if they get the opportunity, they'll do it to me. And it's fun. It's fun, to be honest, to get that reaction from them. But from all of us here, Sabrina Speaks, happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy whatever it is you're celebrating. And again, we always have to do this bit to acknowledge and respect all of those who are mourning the loss of a loved one. Our thoughts and prayers go out to you as well. For all of you who are recovering, not feeling too well, Jimbo, how are you, my sweet? And Aliano is on his way of repairing. Yes. Our thoughts and prayers and lots of love and well wishes go out to all of you as well. Arnold's in, not Arnold, Marshall. Marshall's in the house this evening. First to comment, how are you, my sweet? How's your weekend? Still battling the cold over there? Aliano, yes. See, I know, I saw you. Damian Henry, happy Monday to you. In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity. Let me tell you what, you put that to a different level when it comes to investment in all the markets, and you're seeing all of this stuff that you're seeing. I wonder if there's something big afoot that we're just not getting the bigger picture of, Damien. At the backs of all the vulnerable people. Boy, this is something to watch. Yeah, definitely something to watch. But as I continue to content create here and pay attention to what's happening around the world and everywhere else, it kind of makes you wonder. It really does make you wonder really what's at stake. What's at play? You can't, I guess if you're not in certain circles, you really don't know, you can't see it, you can't make head or tail out of what's going on. But I just feel something bigger is afoot, and it will all align at the end of the day, to be honest with you. Just take this opportunity to remind people, because this means a lot to me, that this Autism Symposium 2026, yes, that's coming up, and I want you all to be aware of that. And they're announcing their big speaker, Dr. Temple Grandin, who will be here. So yes, more, you can follow them on Facebook to get more on that. And also for all of my young ladies and gentlemen who want to apply for local government scholarships as well. Application deadline closes on the 30th of April. You can go on to the Ministry of Education and Training, and if you want to apply for that, and just follow the instructions there. So just make sure you remember all of these things that are happening. Deadlines are happening. And I'm hoping to get some people from Autism Cayman on here. We featured them last year, and I'm here to help them promote this and let people know exactly what's going on. So let's see where it goes. But this is an early start. They got a big speaker. I was there last year. It was really, really informative, and I enjoyed it. So let's see how much we can rally up to definitely attend this event of 2026. And guess what? It caught me off guard. I thought it was today, but I did some research. Yeah, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. And before you run out and go buy something green, I want to know, do you actually know what you're celebrating? Or do we just like green beer and music and an excuse to lime and just kick your heels up? Yeah, I dig back a little bit, but it is going to be tomorrow, right? Back here in the day, we used to have Cayman Islands hosted annual St. Patrick's Day Irish jog for decades, and it hit its 28th year back in 2020. And that event, I remember growing up, just knowing that as a kid, where hundreds of people showed up wearing green hats and beards and, their Celtic jerseys. It was a fun time, and definitely bars like Fidel Murphy. They hosted a full Irish weekend, green beer and guineas and all sorts of music. Yeah, but it is tomorrow, for the record. It's tomorrow. And, did you realize that St. Patrick's Day isn't really about parties? That was something that I discovered today. It's the feast day of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, and it celebrated every year on March 17th. Now, it begun as a religious holiday and then became a global cultural celebration thanks to Irish communities abroad. But a little fun fact is that St. Patrick wasn't even Irish. No, he was born in Roman Britain and brought to Ireland as a slave. And the color associated with St. Patrick's wasn't green, it was blue. And the famous story about him, about driving snakes, is symbolic. Ireland never had snakes. So if you didn't know, now you know. So it's amazing what you can find when you do these things. And unless you're really from these places and you really studied history, you may just be doing things or just having a heck of a time with these people from Ireland and just enjoying it. But I just don't want you going out wearing green and not understanding, at least having something about it. I don't want you. Oh, we got a WhatsApp here. Sabrina, I only know St. Patrick's Day means wearing green or get pinch. Some people, that and those pinches hurt. Okay, here's another one. Whoa, they're coming in. I thought St. Patrick chased snakes out of Ireland. Yeah, see, I didn't realize that either. I didn't know there were no snakes. Yes, there are none. Another one. Sabi, Caymanians just want an excuse to lie. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, not at all. Not at all. Now I know who we could turn it down. Oh, no. I'm wearing green tomorrow, this one says, because I do not want to get pinched by anybody. There you go. There you go. Well, just a gentle reminder for all of my Irish people out there. Tomorrow marks the 17th of March is St. Patrick's Day. And for some of you celebrating and don't even know what you're celebrating, that's okay. St. Patrick's Day, as I said, is started as a religious feast day, and now it's global, celebrating Irish culture. And Cayman, we adopted it. Yes, because of the diversity in our culture. We love good vibes. So tomorrow, whether you're Irish, Caymanian, or just Irish for the day, wearing your green, enjoy the music and don't get caught slipping. Duck those pinches too. Oh, yeah. Marshall, you go wear your green tomorrow? I want to wish you all the fun. Maybe I might put on some green tomorrow. Who to tell? I don't know. I just love it. Just to have fun. Oh, you got to make it the best of it. Yep. Live happy. How you doing? Happy Monday. Tartarian is also in the house. Oh, you got a rooster's crowing or what? Marshall say he's having a cold weekend. Oh, Lord. We're getting, well, if you were here from the beginning, you heard the forecast. We're going to have a rainy morning tomorrow and straight into Thursday, maybe into Friday. So let's see. Blessed Monday to you as well, Andrew. How are you? Hope you had a good weekend. Yes, giving thanks. That's all we can do. Give thanks. One day, oh my gosh, I just hearing so much death. You just really want to take your loved ones and hug them. And just wherever you go and you see people that you haven't seen in a while, you just want to just embrace that moment. Just live in the moment. I was seeing Mr. Whitaker a couple days ago in the bank. And, it hit me when he said what he said in a brief conversation that we had. He said he's really even scared to ask people how their loved ones are because, you know, people are passing away that you actually miss that someone actually passed. And it wasn't until, you know, it sunk in a little bit what he said, because he had interacted with someone and was asking them for their loved one. And they're like, they're very still. They passed away a year ago. And, you know, for him, it was saddened for him, but it was also a little embarrassing because it would have been something that he should have known, but it was just so much going on. But yeah, we just really, Andrew, got to give thanks for another day, because from what we're seeing in our community, in a small island as we are, small lit community that we are, yeah, you really, really got to give thanks and just show appreciation and love. Just always share the love. Yes. Marshall says, I used to take part on many St. Patrick's Day 5K back in the day. I remember you kept asking and registering, and your friend says, oh yeah, I come in and wouldn't show, or I'll just rub you off. I remember those days. But yeah, you were very active. Yes, yes, yes. Coach Harper. Oh, I remember Miss Jerry Harper. Yes, Coach Harper used to host the St. Patrick's Fun Run. Yep. Wow, memories taking you guys back, huh? Yeah. Don says, good evening. Love your top. Thank you so much. Donnie, I got so much clothes, girl. I try to pull. I try not to repeat too often, but you're only seeing the top. So there's only so much tops you can go into a rotation, right? But thank you so much. Just add water. A couple of years ago. Just add water about 3 years ago. Hint, hint. I love to share it here once I remember where I get them from. Oh yeah, Just Add Water. Beautiful, vibrant colors. So if you want to check them out, shameless plug, unsolicited advertisement for them. Just Add Water. Marshall said, I'm actually hosting a St. Patrick's Day Taco Tuesdays here at the house. Everyone have to wear something green. Look at you, Marshall. Oh, I'll mess with you. Wonder if you'd be bold enough to share a picture with me. I tell you, I will not share it with the public unless you actually give me permission. But even if it's to see the decorations or maybe to see how you looked, I don't know. Let's see. But it's tomorrow if you got any fun pictures, or if you're at work and you're just doing it all to just boost morale in the workplace. Now that you know exactly what St. Patrick's Day is about, hopefully you could fake it until you make it, huh? I know Platon used to just go out and drink and dance and party, and you had no clue what you were dancing to, but yeah, and just having a ball. But now you know it. And if you know what, just go Google it yourself. It was easy for me to find out. Yeah. Andrew said, every weekend there is 2 or more funerals. Yeah. The weekends are really busy, and I know how hard it was as a member of government, out of respect, having to show up to these. It's customary. And I can remember, thank you, my love, on WhatsApp. I know once Mr. Arden McLean says, funerals are a must and weddings are an option, or you have a choice, but funerals are a must once you're an MP. And that is a cultural thing here that I think right now that a lot of the members of parliament are finding it quite difficult to keep up with. Sometimes they're running between from Saturday straight to Sunday. They can cover like 3-4 different funerals, and from members of parliament just showing up. There's something of being in your official role versus knowing someone intimately, or someone that is very close to the person who has passed on. But it is just a Caribbean tradition that members of government show up. But that is another thing, having a direct connection to a family. But yeah, it can really consume you. And if you are someone who it impacts, it can literally drain every bit of life out of you, especially if you're taking part and know that person intimately and having to do that that more than once in one day or over a weekend, and it's constant. But yeah, two or more, sometimes they have four in one day. So Andrew, it is something that we really look at, and this is why we have to just honor everyone. And you can't even say our seniors anymore. All walks, all ages. It ain't no age anymore. Mm-mm. You just have to just love your family, respect and love your friends, because you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to hear next. You don't know. Rohan, how you doing? Hello. Thank you very much from Jamaica. How you doing down there? Yep. Marshall says, I will share a pic tomorrow once I'm all dressed up. Oh, that I love you, you know. You and your 22-year-old, still only 22, right? Thank you, Rohan, for joining us from Jamaica. Only 45 minutes away. But boy, that's a place to go. That's a place to go to have fun. Andrew says, Old Hyatt Hotel and Golf Course used to keep a big event with runners and walkers back in the day. Oh, yes. Memories. It looks like I'm pulling them out of the memory bank from all of you guys today. Yes. Clean and Straight is joining us as well. Good evening to you. Welcome. Always good to have you here. So yeah, welcome one and all. And as you keep on coming in, remember, if you want to join in live on the conversation today, 345-936-8255 is the number to call and be a part of the conversation. You may have seen on the social media and news channels, and I think Sandra even got an interview with Sanjay Miles to just try and calm whatever was going on in the community, as we got word that rumors went like wildfire. It's rumored wildfire that gas prices were going to increase to $7 today a gallon, and it spread quickly, and it hit hard to people pretty much panicking. And I could just imagine all of the people out there pretty much just going and filling up their tanks if it was tomorrow, if it was coming in effect today, just filling up at the old rate. And yes, it turned out to be, as we said at the entry, at the beginning, a rumor. But my aim tonight was, with everything that I'm seeing happening around the world, and I'm quite sure you cannot scroll through YouTube, you cannot scroll through Facebook, you can't scroll through anything and not see something that some government leader is saying. You heard the news broadcast here this evening about Emirates and airlines suspending flights because of what's happening. We're seeing where shipping lanes are blocked. We're getting on news outlets where this blockage of not being able to get gas and oil and that sort of stuff, the domino effect it's going to have even on fertilizers, key materials, raw materials, food. And yeah, what we're looking at for keeping the lights on, food on the shelf, and just driving your cars to and from could actually be a reality, could become a reality. And what if one day it isn't a rumor? And it's because of everything that's happening. So I'm encouraging you, I'm inviting you to join in this conversation, to give me your feedback on what your thoughts are with really what's happening. When you're looking at even the prices right now that is over in the sister islands, if somebody knows what's the prices over in Little Cayman, it'll be good to know. Then you mightn't be so shocked at $7 here in Grand Cayman, because a family member was telling me, well, Christ, if it ends up getting $7 here, it must be $12, $15 over there. So what if it becomes a reality is what sparked this conversation. And you saw the amount of resources and time that it took out of the busy schedule of persons yesterday to just calm that, because what we don't want is panic. But how do we prepare if we're not even aware of the realities that are happening? And this is why it's important for us to pay attention to local media stations for what's happening, but it's good as well to calm and dispel any immediate rumors, even if we know there is a real possibility that if it's not that, it could come pretty close with everything that's happening. So when a rumor actually feels possible, it tells you something about the moment we're living in. And we're not going to dispel the fact that it isn't a possibility that $7 could actually be a reality. I see it, Marshall 21. You wish. Anyhow, Cayman is already, as we know it, we have brought the conversation up here on this space numerous of times before, where we're already dealing with high fuel prices. When we have our tourists visiting us and they see even $4 at the pump, and we're like, that's low. I mean, we have always been at the higher level anyhow. When you look at your utility bills and you see exactly what the charge is just for the fuel consumption, the energy consumption, and the fuel rate, that really is what's driving the cost of a lot of our utility bills here. And even though you may not necessarily see it at the pump, we're hearing, and I saw news where China is even cutting back on certain things, Japan as well. They're cutting back on their work days per week. They're actually shifting now to 4-day work week, where they're asking persons to work from home to avoid the use of cutting back their use on fossil fuels and all that sort of stuff. They're adjusting to the realities to try right now to conserve on their usage of gas and petrol and all of this sort of stuff to reduce energy consumption. You have big countries over on that side of the world that governments are being proactive because they're expecting this to actually extend a bit longer. And even if it doesn't go to a screeching halt, getting back in a cycle with all of what we're seeing, the whole rotation cycle has already been disrupted. It's going to take a while for certain things to get back into some sort of normalcy to bring us that stability. So when you hear countries like that are actually encouraging 4-day work weeks, cutting back on the amount of persons who are on the road, why do we think everything that we bring in will not be impacted if that big cycle is actually already disrupted and everything we depend on based on limits and size and capacity comes here? The truth is, it can become a reality. Our way of life, how we commute back and forth to work, how we run our ACs, peak loads on CUC. This, my friends, is not to create panic. This is a real conversation, and all you have to do is to look at what's happening around the world and just put 1 + 1 together. I repeat, what was in circulation yesterday, based on off-reg, was indeed a rumor. We are only bringing up the conversation. What if it becomes a reality? So let's just say it's a matter of time. It's a possibility, the eventualities of it, because remember, all of those cargo vessels are going to need fuel in order to do shipping across here. And one thing, it's a domino effect. So if they can't get what they need in order to make them have the necessary fuel to get here, and goods go back, we need X amount in order to keep us running at the loads in which we need to go. Yeah, it is a possibility. So when someone says gas is $7, people don't question it. They brace for it. What if it even goes higher than that? And that's only one element. We have to look at the total picture of how that rumor could go into a bigger, blossom into something even bigger. I got a listener, okay, let me get this. Let me grab this. I believe it right away. Oh, this is okay. I believed it right away. Everything else is going up. Why not gas too? Okay. Well, you see, that's exactly it. The rumor wasn't the issue, in my humble opinion. The conditions made it believable. Yeah, the conditions that we're seeing around the world made it very believable. Hence, people actually jumped on it. Here's one other one. Even if it wasn't true this time, it could be next time. And this is why we have to be prepared. Yes. And that's the conversation that I want to have tonight. Not about the rumor in itself, but about the reality. Because it is pointing to that way. It is the reality that it points to. And what if it becomes a reality? Yeah. Damian Henry says, major shipping lanes have rerouted around the Cape of Good Hope, adding weeks to transit times and significantly increasing freight costs. It's going to get worse. We need to stock up on essentials. And you see, this is why I said that, Damian Henry, because it's a cascading effect. Now, I trust our leaders to actually deal with stakeholders. And I'm quite sure at some point they will make themselves on some local forums to calm any worry or concerns. And of course, that's after engaging with the likes of Chamber or Supermarket Change or utility companies, including the water and that sort of stuff, but more CUC and our supermarkets, the shipping and all of those sort of stuff. Now, that's industry stakeholder discussion that should be on steroids. And it's just not only one meeting and then you address the public. It's a series of meetings as you continue to watch what's happening geopolitically around the world and how its immediate impacts can have on us. And from time to time, then some continued updates then should be to the government, from the government to the people. When that happens, you don't get rumors like that starting and being blown out of proportion. It is a reality of what people are seeing around the world. And like I said, I'm seeing where Hong Kong and all of those other countries right now that are closer to where all of this stuff is happening, in a sense where they have access to fuel and all that sort of stuff, and they're going to be impacted. And they have already started to scale back. You have seen where some countries that used to make crude are realizing now that some of the shipping routes as well has been actually blocked. And the demand, therefore, just because of logistical problems, have stopped them into production because there's nowhere to go. And even fertilizers, this is just the springtime where farmers and all that sort of stuff depend on certain fertilizers to make the summer vegetables and fruits and all that sort of stuff grow. When these things are impacted, that's going to impact what produce, fruits and vegetables and all that sort of stuff the world actually get. And that's only food supplies. There is also a plant that depends on, I think it's Hong Kong, raw material for certain materials to be made for aluminum. And they cannot get the raw material because of certain shipping lanes right now being blocked and the necessary fuel that it needs to make these plants, these factories operate. So guess what? They're not getting the base material for production. They then have to cut back on their energy use. They have to lay off staff until these certain things and materials come back into play. And at the end of the day, that impacts what they produce that may actually impact something that is on our shelves here. So you realize that even though that's on the other side of the world, it can have real impact on us on this side of the world, directly and indirectly. Yes, because the conflicts themselves really that is affecting the oil supply on its own. The oil producing region that is being disrupted its supply. When supply is threatened at the end of the day, we will see an increase in price. And it's just that simple. Yeah. And like we're seeing with the shipping lane disruptions, even if they're rerouted, longer wait times, more costs, because guess what? They use more diesel, more fuel to take the longer routes. And some of these routes may be unsafe, or they could meet up with their own challenges. And again, shipping costs being rise. And we know here in Cayman, we feel that instantly because everything we use arrives by ship or by plane. But for the biggest consumption of what we actually have access to, come in by ship, by cargo. And it's going to impact the Latin American countries everywhere. Don't you think, again, that we're immune from any of this? I'll go to some of the questions right now, comments that are being made. The rumors we hear we need to take serious as the situation is changing so rapidly. My fear is that there will be domestic terrorism all around the world, apart from the prices of food, fuel, and utilities. If this prolongs further past August, which I believe it will, then we will need to make personal changes and preparation, Andrew says. Andrew further comments, our tourism, which feeds fuel our economy, will be greatly affected. When we cannot feed ourselves, what happens? Aliano says, I always wonder why these critical elements of production are always in an area of extreme volatility. You're quite right, Aliano, quite right. A commenter on WhatsApp said, I went to Foster Savannah a couple days ago and the pasta section is almost depleted. There you go. Now, that's only one item, but I can tell you these are telltale signs. Maybe it could be the brand. It could be maybe a ship was late. I don't know. But this is why my WhatsApp commenter is why I will trust that our leaders are actually in true discussions with the Chamber of Commerce, who in turn will include our merchants, such as our supermarkets, or petrol people, or gas companies, which we heard Sanjay talk about that. But to get these people around at the table and have the real discussions, because what we don't want is a frenzy. What we don't want is a panic either, because that doesn't help anyone. But if the reality of what we're seeing happening around the world right now, from rising global demand to even our market volatility, oil markets are unpredictable. We know that for a fact. Data shows it. Prices can swing overnight. And when they swing, trust me, we here in the Cayman Islands feel them as well. So when you look at all of these and you look at the global demand, countries like I called earlier on, like China, India, are consuming more fuel than ever. And they're adjusting their work habits. More demand plus unstable supply, higher prices, pour us in the Caribbean. It's real, my brothers and sisters. It's real. Tartarian says, what bugs me about us Caribbean people? Why are we panicking instead of preparing? We are still going about life as normal. I don't see any of those up-to-do people on public transport. Tartarian, that is profound. And in the most subtle way, I have been trying to sound the alarm, and anyone in my immediate family can tell you I have been hinting. I said, let me share it with you all here on the Sabrina Speaks family platform. I have been telling my family, because of me content creating, because of me looking at what's happening around the world, it kind of light bulbs go off. And I kept saying, and I keep saying to my family, prepare as though you're preparing for a hurricane season, right? I said, each week you go, you pick up this, you pick up that, or if it's a midweek and certain things are on special, take your time. I know not everybody's in the same financial situation, but if you realize what's happening around the world, little bit by little bit, and you put it in a storage container of things that you use all the time, just stock up on them one by one. And it's true. If you were prepared, Tartarian, as you're alluding to here, there wouldn't be a panic. There wouldn't be any sort of panic. And this is why the tone in which our government uses, if and when they decide to address the public, specifically the nation, specifically about what we're discussing here, their tone, their pitch, and all of that sort of stuff is critical. And what we will ask is that, it'll be factual, it will be honest. And to me, we can adjust our sails as members of civil society better if we know the realities of what is to come. Let's say there is going to be disruptions in delay of certain goods, products that we normally buy. It's a simple PR press statement saying, if you're used to, as my WhatsApp commenter said, the pasta was empty. We're going to see a decrease in pasta right now. We're trying to source other vendors to see how quickly we can get it back. But even if it's not the same brand, we will do our best to make sure that you have access to this. Something like that, but not saying anything at all, I think creates more of that panic than anything else. And this is why it's important that communities and spaces like this, who is wide awake, very concerned, in a sense, can break it down in layman's term just for conversation to keep you all in the know, your feedback as well, because I know a lot of you are seeing what I'm seeing, and it means the world to us. We got people streaming from Jamaica. You guys have been hit by a hurricane, even though not all of the entire island. But your hardest hit island, part of the island, is your agriculture sector. That in itself has drawn up costs straight across, because where you guys could sustain yourself over there on certain things. Now, I understand based on certain media sources, in order to keep up with the demand, you guys are importing stuff too that you normally wouldn't have to import. And you just look then at how that has changed. So you look at what's happening as well. We got our people in the UK who are also giving us feedback on what they're seeing there on the ground. We got our friends over there in Australia who gives feedback. We got people in Belize as well who give us feedback. And if that don't tell us, being anchored here in the Cayman Islands, as tiny as we are, the realities of what could be, it's a no-brainer if and when our leaders actually decide to address the nation on what is obvious, that it wouldn't take any of us by surprise. But I agree with you. I totally agree with you. People do not need to panic in this case. We just need to be prepared. And this is why I repeat, from my immediate household and my family, from the past, I would say month, I saw what was building, month and a half. And I said, go ahead and take your time and just buy one, two things. Yeah. So there, I shared it with you. CE Banks, good evening to you, my love. How are you? Happy Monday to you, my dear. Andrew says, make no mistake. This war is not about freedom from oppression by implementing regime changes. All about petrodollar, control of the oil, and stifling China, Russia, and Cuba. Well, poor Cuba. Oh, God. And I hear us talking about Cuba. It is, they're in a mess too. And they're not far from us, guys. They're not far. We're seeing more and more Cubans coming to our shores, and we're seeing the realities of what's happening there. That's something that we need to always be aware of, because everywhere it's almost like it's putting the whole world in a spin, and we're all trying to survive and trying to take care of our own. And then the realities of migration from their countries that are even worse than us. Yeah, that is a reality as well. Aliano says, why we don't as a country look at develop more inter-Caribbean trade and cut out America and other external countries mass profiting off of us. Aliano, that is why CARICOM is trying to build a more sustainable interconnectivity amongst themselves. You notice that our very own premier attended the last CARICOM meeting, and even though we're not a full member state, he did make some connections down there, and he felt it beneficial for him to go. Now, Marco Rubio did attend that sitting, and he did share with us, looking at alternate building relationships for sustainability and all that sort of stuff. And when I say sustainability, it's not always weather. It's sustainability for safety, food, different interconnectivity, and that sort of stuff. But remember as well, we're a British Overseas Territory jurisdiction, and there are just certain things, still permission will have to be given from the United Kingdom. Proximity, my friend, still matters, because not to tell you that we're going to be thrown to the wolves or that is our safety net, that is our comfort. We still need to do what we have to do in order to be able to sustain ourselves for any eventualities that could bring unnecessary hardship because of geopolitical tensions that are happening around us. We see what's happening in the UK right now, pretty much. And we're seeing where it appears as though the president of the United States isn't really pleased with how this prime minister is actually responding to helping him. So we don't know what that fallout could be either. So that is something to think about. But yes, we know the minister, J.E. Banks as well, has tried to build relationship and maintain relationships as well with neighboring countries, including that of Jamaica and Honduras and so forth. And we see where Jamaica themselves last year had their own natural disaster. So they're trying to fend for themselves. It's like almost a perfect storm with what's happening right now in the Caribbean. So we really need to try and look at what we have right here, what resources, yes, still connections, national security, border security, and all that sort of stuff. But if you think agriculture, food, electricity, water is not a part of national security, make anything happen that we go for a prolonged period of time where people can't get food or water, and then you will understand how that aligns so fitting with national security. It all ties in at the end of the day. We got a comment here. Sabrina, with all these wars and shipping issues, anything can happen. And that's why why we're talking about it. Not to scare anyone, but to prepare. Thank you for actually saying that. Damian Henry here says, British supermarkets are currently facing the threat of empty shelves, particularly for fresh fruit and vegetables due to the skyrocketing production costs and supply chain disruptions linked to the conflict involving Iran. There we go. See? Now, if you guys can't even supply your own local market, we're a British Overseas Territory citizen jurisdiction all the way over here in the Caribbean. You can't even stock your own shelves. How the heck is it going to survive from over there to here to help us? Thank you for sharing that with us, and we appreciate you sharing that, what's going on over there, which only brings what I said before into reality. Andrew says, we need to have town hall meetings and strategic solutions or discussions. Andrew, that's what your member of parliament should be doing. Getting feedback from the people, trying to calm each other. Yeah, calm each other down. And of course, collective responsibility. You don't want anybody to say, well, oh, this member of cabinet or this government has gone off and they've done this with their constituency and they didn't consult us. Now is when you have the conversations. Because at the end of the day, politics is local, first and foremost. We have single member constituencies, and you want to make sure that you keep your constituencies up to date. But for something as important as this is a national issue because, like it is geopolitical, global, you want to have in one course. This is one time where opposition and government comes together on the same footing. Because if it's anything, let's say gas, utilities such as water and electricity, food, you really think that's going to impact the opposition side more than it's going to impact the government supporters more than the other? It's going to impact at some point everybody. Yeah, the prices at the pumps, the prices at the supermarkets, doesn't matter whether or not you supported a coalition government, TCCP, PPM, or whatever other acronym came out, it's going to impact everybody. And these are the subjects where politics has no abiding place. Andrew says, thank God we are not down in the UAE, but the threat of takeover with Cuba. We potentially could see military presence very soon and sending cruise ships air travel to a halt. Well, I'm hoping to Christ it never gets to that. But it's real what's developing, what's unfolding over there in Cuba. And like I said, it not too often, and I'm going to start paying a little bit more attention over to Haiti. But it's not. You shouldn't take your eye off of it. You shouldn't. Mm-mm. Hey Jimbo, how you doing today? Good to have you. See you commenting. Sometimes we need a wake-up call to snap back to reality. We've grown complacent, comfortable with the way we've lived, the way we think, and the way we expect life to unfold. What's missing is self-sufficiency. It's time to stop relying on everyone else and take responsibility for ourselves. We've been given so many opportunities that we have started to taking them for granted. The universe has a way of reminding us that adaptability is essential. Change will come, whether we like it or not. The key is we must stop this division amongst ourselves and come together as a community the way it used to be. Well said. That's almost a mic drop moment, Jimbo. It's true. It's true. And it's all in the delivery. It's all in how it's, I could almost say, packaged, if I could share that with you. But it's real. Jim, it is real. Okay, so yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. We have a WhatsApp commenter that says, compliments of the Jamaican Gleaner just hitting here. Officials in Cuba reported an island-wide blackout Monday in the country of some, and it goes into how much people has been affected. Yeah, this is real, and this is what, my friends, will actually come to fruition. Thank you for sharing that with me just 2 hours ago. Compliments to the Jamaican Gleaner. Give them a shout out here today. It says officials in Cuba reported an island-wide blackout on Monday in the country of some 11 million people as its energy and economic crisis deepened and its power grid continues to crumble. The Ministry of Energy and Mines on X noted a complete disconnection of the country's electrical system and said it was investigating, noting there were no failures in the units that were operating when the grid collapsed. And of course, thank you. That's why I love my students. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I'm quite sure there'll be more of that to come as well. And you see what I tell you? You're looking at what's happening, and Andrew said it so well. It's only a matter of time. And what if we do see a huge influx? I know our government is preparing a place and all this sort of stuff, but as we continue to see these fuel lines, energy lines being choked, we don't know what or how much days we have to actually maximize our running, our fuel or electricity generation, for how long, and pretty much at what peak loads. Because if it needs be that we turn off all AC units, even in residential homes between certain times in order for us to conserve, These are the real talks that we should be having or should be hearing. How do you prepare for this? Is us in this space and having it on a national level is two different things. But thank you for sharing that with me, my friend. Tartarian says, our forefathers have been through World War II and they survived. In today's modern society, we have a lot more material possessions than they did. We just need to think creatively and be enterprising. Yeah, and be enterprising. Let's see how are we going to work out with this, because make it that we can't get the Wi-Fi connectivity, or go too long that you cannot get a little AC. Yeah, maybe we may need to start camping earlier this year. Who to tell? Andrew says COVID was not a test run, but reality. Andrew, you said something there about this COVID. I wonder if the next pandemic could be similar with all of this, that what we're having. Because, as I said, what's happening in China, Hong Kong, India, those places that are really just cutting back because of they're consuming so much energy, they're consuming so much, and they are already starting to scale back. Maybe there is a silver lining in their consumption. There is a silver lining throughout all of this, but until we realize what that is, in hindsight, we got to prepare in the now. And it's like, yes, guys, prepare, so that when the realities come to fruition, you're not panicking. You can actually breathe through it. And don't take the messenger for granted. I mean, you just look around. You don't have to go by me. Just look around at what's happening, to be honest, to figure it out for yourself. Now is the time to do your planting. Things take time to grow. And what we need to do is plant, grow, and share. In hard times, money is little importance. You grow watermelon, I grow tomato, etc. Yeah. And you call it bartering. You may have a couple of hands of bananas or plantains and stuff, and I may have some cucumbers or some other stuff. Pour me herbs. I can only give you black mint right now, but a little bit of oregano. But what I'm saying is, yeah, you call it bartering, and it's going to be some interesting time ahead, and it'll be interesting to see how us new generation actually deals with this so-called, if it continues to deteriorate and become a reality of what we would call hard life or difficult times. And picking up and going for someplace, let's say picking up and going to the US or going somewhere else for a period of time. Maybe some people may be thinking of leaving if it gets harder, but where you go? Everywhere is actually facing something right now. So at least I know my neighbors. I know my family, majority of my family is here. I would prefer to ride out anything here unless there was a level of civil unrest that was just so bad that, it just makes living here really, really bad. But I would prefer really to just wing it out here because of the relationships and people that I know. Majority of my family is here. Why would I want to go someplace else? Yeah. Gee, the man. Yeah, give the man a kaboom. I got to make sure that this is the right button. Yes.
Kaboom!
Go. He got that kaboom. COVID was just the first test, Jimbo says. Miss Dorothy's in the house. Good evening to you, my love. How are you? Welcome. Now, let's just bring it back home and talk a little bit. And again, the phone lines are wide open. 936-8255. That's 345-936-8255 if you want to weigh in on this conversation and to see where we're going. Maybe you want to tell us where you are in the neck of the woods and what you're seeing, if you're seeing a change in your prices even in the markets. We have a farmer's market here. Have you all seen any difference in the prices at the farmer's market here? Or you may have those local vendors, or if you're in some other island, have you seen a shift in things? What challenges are you seeing where you are? Just let us know. Comment in the link below. Let us know and we can share it here. Or like I said, You can WhatsApp me 345-936-8255 or call in. You may want to be live. We go until 7 o'clock. How could this change the way of life now? We kind of dabbled into it overall. If it becomes a reality, Jimbo is saying the more mature folks have made it too easy for the younger generations. Time to show them what it is to have to survive. Jim, dig a deed. Mm-mm. And then you know what? You got them that they will survive better than me and you because they can stress me and you out. And they will come up on the winning side. And then you know what? Because not to say all of these younger generations are accustomed to going an extended period of time without a smart device or being on some gaming apparatus, whatever. This is why conversation is key from now. The eventualities of that becoming a reality, that utilities have to be discontinued or halted for a while, of course. You don't have electricity, how you can play a game? Oh, well, a generator. Unnecessarily burning of that because it runs off of something. These are the conversations that you have with your loved ones, and especially the kids, especially the children. And this is why we as parents need to tailor our conversations, not to just throw them in the front of the bus and say, look at this, look at all these people being unfortunately blown up because of all of these attacks, whatever. No, you just put it age-sensitive conversations that is becoming a reality. And what could? It's not to scare them, and I'm not a psychologist. It's just common sense. Remember when your kids were smaller and you were going to the grocery store and you only had X amount of money to spend? On my way to the supermarket, I made sure I told my kids, look, you all get one treat, not two or three, and not everything you see in the store you're going to get. I only have limited amount of money, and this is all we're going to buy today. You set the parameters from in the car, so when they go in, oh God, thank you, dear Jesus, I never ever did that stunt about laying on the floor and throwing a tantrum because they couldn't get what they want. Good old version of Medea's version of Sabrina set that tone before she even got into the supermarkets. It's no different with speaking to your kids now with the eventualities. And these are the conversations, to be honest, that I feel we should be having with our kids. And I was speaking even to my grown son who's married, just a general conversation. And I was telling him about things. And of course, they travel a lot. I said, you sure you want to do that now to certain places that they want to go? And, they're their own adults. I can only continue to pray for them. But these were certain things that I told them to do and, said or brought to their awareness. I can't tell them what to do because they're their own adults. But, the exchange back and forth was really good. It was mature and they understood. And I'm speaking to grown adults now. Now, I would tailor that a little different if they were teenagers. And God forbid if there were 8, 10, 6, 7. Of course, you would have to tailor it. But the thing is, I had the conversation. So any eventualities that comes and impacts the life, standard of life that they're accustomed. Remember, we had this conversation. This is what I was telling you about. Well, how long is it going to last for? We don't know. Just hold on, exhale. And then you provide other options. But as adults now, it's a little different. What my grandmother used to say, every tub of their own bottom. And if I'm sharing with my family and close friends things that I'm seeing, because yes, I'm content creating and I'm seeing what's happening, and they don't want to take advantage of the early warnings and advice and highlights, then of course, they're going to be in the rat race of the panic. And they're going to be the ones probably unprepared. But that's just how it is. But I feel, Jim, that we need to have the conversation, and having to survive, that whole survival mode or phase of life will be totally different if we start the early conversations with our kids and the young adults. Because there's no need to be stressing out of something that you have no control over, having mental breakdowns over something that is beyond control. And that's where logical reasoning and just hashing things out, just be proactive about it. Andrew says, well, Sabrina, chemical warfare can wipe out millions. Yes. Sadly, we are not prepared to deal with anything like that. We should have seriously looked at food security if we took things critically. Andrew, it's so much things we need to look at, my love, that, oh God, it's prioritizing. And then you still have, again, we talk about politics being local. We still have to look at running our country, still have to look at revenue income measures. You still have to look at making sure we can pay our bills from a national perspective as well. Food security, access to medical care, access to good, affordable medical, and even still dealing with our vulnerable as realities, but somebody has to pay the bills and the income has to come from somewhere. And it's all finding the right balance, adjusting the dials accordingly that is sustainable without direct, I guess, taxation or indirect. And put it like this, I just wouldn't want to be in that position right now. Thank you, Jesus. Because the only lifesaver is going to be is having open, candid conversation and inclusion in the way you address your people. That is the only saving grace right now. And it's going to have to be consistent because of what's happening around the world. And to say that we all don't have access to see what's right there playing out in the front of us, we're fooling ourselves. We're honestly fooling ourselves. So for us to sit down and be played or get fooled, that would be self-inflicted, in all honesty, because it don't take rocket science to figure out what can become a true reality. Tartarian says, I discovered that vinegar can wash clothing, and it works wonders and cheaper. I also discovered alum or aloe has 101 uses. I'm already saving a lot of money. Check YouTube videos on how to save money. Yeah, I saw that the other day, Tartarian. And I gotta be honest with you, the baking soda and white vinegar. Wonders on white clothes. Oh yeah, with hot water. I saw that. And even though I don't like the smell of the vinegar, it made the clothes like brand new. Yeah, you were just so bright and all that sort of stuff. And the soaking time wasn't that long. But I got the big bag of the baking soda. And of course, I'm never out of vinegar for washing my meats and all that sort of stuff. But I tried it on a small load of white clothes and it was amazing. But I just didn't like the smell afterwards. So of course, I used a lot more water just trying to get rid of the smell. And of course, then you do your regular wash with your fabric softener. And of course, it didn't linger. I must say it didn't linger, but the color that it brought out with. But different tips and tricks. Yes, it's amazing what you can find on YouTube and other social media sites. You're quite right. Thank you for sharing that with us, Tartarian. Andrew said, and then they create a sense you can give a scene and you can give them the look. Andrew, you know the look. You know the look. You know the look. Yes, yes, yes. Give them the look. Andrew, adapting to the loss of air conditioning, lights, internet will not be something many can cope with. I know one thing, it don't bother me. What's going to hurt is the making sure we can get the latest information out, and we just have to be creative. Yeah, Cuba and Haiti are examples. You're quite right. Hey, Plain and Straight, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We can't go too far down what if, because that road never ends. We have to concentrate on the immediate possible negatives and then address the other things in time. But you know what's sad, Plain and Straight? We predominantly, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, we have been so accustomed to our way of life right now that, you know what? You almost got to start working backwards. You almost need to create the image of the worst case scenario and then tailor it back, because we have become so complacent. We have become so accustomed to certain amenities that even now that this is happening, and I know friends who are out pretty much every day, and when they engage in certain conversations, some people are just totally clueless, totally clueless. And they're like, what? Where are you living? And then they start explaining. And they're like, child, whatever. Yeah. So when the reality happens, those are the ones that unfortunately are really going to be pushed to the brink. So I understand what you're saying, not going too far. But at some point, we need to engage in the real conversation, clean and straight. I agree with you. But we have for too long just taken certain things for granted, have become accustomed to a certain standard, and the realities have never hit some of us. Some of us don't even know what hard life is. What we call hard life is really not even hard life. And like what Jim said, sometimes we all need a wake-up call. The closest thing to hard life that some of us probably could go back to were back in the day of Hurricane Ivan. And as soon as we got a generator, we went back to ourselves. That was really the default button for a lot of us, where we were all back at one. But what's happening right now could actually be prolonged because of what's happening around the world that could impact us for long-standing periods of time. So let's see what's happening. But I thank you for that as well. And facts, I agree with you to a certain degree, but I think we need to go to the far end of exactly what you're pointing to and work our way back, just to give some people a real wake-up call that it is a possibility of becoming a reality. The smell does not stay if you was in the, okay, wash it in the machine. Yeah, like I said, it didn't stay. It's just that initial thing. You would never know I had used it, to be honest. I didn't afterwards, but it's just the smell of vinegar. I tried using it as well on the glass enclosure in the shower, and it worked well. Oh my gosh. You know, the water stains, you tried to get it, and it did last as well. So I try to do my own home solutions as well to make things easier. And of course, do a lot more homemade, organic, I guess you would say, stuff that is not having so much chemicals. I do use a lot of them as well, even to clean with oils and different stuff. So yeah, thanks. Yes. But it did work. I could be honest with you, Tartarian, it worked like a charm. Hey, Ms. Barb, how you doing? Good to see you. Vinegar is the best for the dryer instead of fabric softener. And you know what is good too for when they got a fresh for when you're sanitizing your washing machines. It's also good for that as well. It's also good for that. So again, I saw that as well on YouTube, and a number of things just keep popping up as how you can alternate ways in freshening up your machine and kill odors and bacteria and that sort of stuff. It's amazing the power of those things. Andrew says, the best thing we have are each other. Hurricane Ivan taught, or should have taught, us something 22 years ago. They went straight back. Andrew, hush. They went straight back. Tartarian says, alum is used for personal, okay, gotcha. For an oral care, to purify water, and a host of other stuff. Look it up. Yes. I got it now. Thank you. Yes, it's true. I came across, you shared that with me already as well. You did share it with me, Tartarian. Thank you for that. But let's just look at this whole thing with even the possible impacts, that because we've seen a difference in our lowered utility bills. And I know a lot of you were happy with that, with lower utility bills for your last bill that probably you just received. Or if you haven't checked your mail, if you don't get it online, they're out. I know I got the water bill. Yeah. Anyhow, we know that our electricity bills, just look at this point of it, right? The CUC's fuel factor rises when oil rises. Did you hear what I said? Yes. Their fuel factor rises when oil prices rise. So even if you use the same amount of utility, if you use the same amount of electricity, if your numbers remain the same, let's say over the Christmas holidays or over a time that you were away for a month, your bill will still go up just because of the fuel factor line. And this is what I want you guys to be weary of when you possibly get the next bill. And I am hoping that, again, with me sharing this with you, that our utility companies will explain this to people. They have done a lot of material in regards to that, but these are things that I've heard in conversations where people are saying, well, why are they charging you all of this money for fuel that is already on island? The fuel hasn't arrived yet. It hasn't shipped yet. Why are we paying the increased amount for fuel that's already here? They can explain that. They can explain that. But I'm telling you, these are the things that you need to look out for. And you may say, but I did nothing different. I've been more conscious. I have adjusted my thermostats accordingly. I have changed out all sorts of light bulbs. I've done all sorts of things. Yes. When the fuel factor rises and oil prices, your electricity amount, your bill can increase. When the fuel factor rises, when oil rises. And that's where you're going to see an adjustment in your bill. And to some, AC becomes a luxury. Because one of the things that we're going to probably do is go for longer times in the use of our air conditioning. Instead of putting it on or having it set to come on from 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, so that by the time you get home after traffic, 6 o'clock, your space is already cool. You may actually want to do that maybe an hour later or something like that. Yeah, because if the fuel prices spike, there's just certain modifications you're going to have to make with your habits at home that going to probably assist in lowering your bills. And these are some of the adjustments. I'm just giving ideas to you. Some of us can't actually be without cooler temperatures. Instead of you just doing the whole house, if you have a split system or something like that, maybe you want to have it in the common area, maybe like the living room, the family room, whatever, and just keep the bedrooms so that only when you go to bed at night is when you put on that section of the house. These are some minor adjustments that you can do, right? Because AC becomes a luxury when you're trying to cut back, and where you could just maybe instead of a hot shower, you take a cold shower, so that your body isn't heated from the. Okay, those chickens are making us know they're alive and well. Well, after that, welcome to Sabrina Speaks. Good evening, you're live.
Good evening, Miss Sabrina and Cayman. How is everyone today?
Good. That chicken made us know you on.
Those chickens, those hens, and those roosters. Oh well.
How are you, my love?
I'm thankful for another day as usual. We have to be thankful.
It's true.
How do I put this mildly? If some people in Cayman think that this crazy man that has started a war and thinks that it's only going to affect one side of the people and not another, it's another thing. The other day, 2 days ago, I had a conversation with one of the owners of one of the dive resorts down here on Northwest Point Road. And it was about something else. It was about 2 young teenagers running into the property and jumping over the fence. And, you know, the conversation went, when we started talking, it was that the two young teenagers, two young boys, no more than probably 13, told his wife she's too white. And I'm like, okay, I can understand that because we have grown up in a different age than they are growing up in. And they're dealing with things differently. How are you? Good seeing you. Have a good evening. We grew up in a different age than they are. So they're dealing with things in a different way. And I keep telling anyone that would listen, the way we dealt with things.
What is that? Is that a bird or something?
Yeah, I'm on my walk. I'm passing the dolphins.
Oh, okay.
Those are the birds, the macaws they have back there. Which could be very loud. Sorry. If we think that they're going to deal with it the way we dealt with it, sitting down and, talking about things, they don't deal with that. And I had to say to him, I said, I wonder when we start to age, if it's those the same generation now that has to take care of us, unfortunately, if that's the way they're viewing things and saying to rightfully people that have come here and set up and bought a business for whatever reason, if that's how they deal with it when they go into private property and run back out and tell the owners that your wife is too white, I said, I don't have a lot of high hopes here, but I'm hoping. And we got on to the conversation about, how things in this world were at the moment. And the gentleman looked at me and he says, with all of what is going on in this world right now, he basically would want to be no other place than Cayman Islands. And I keep saying this to Caymanians who will listen, and anyone else. This place is a gem. It is home to all of us, and we might not like everything that is going on, but whatever happens in this world affects us all. So we have a madman in America who has started a war. According to this madman, what you call it?
Is growing a lot in your phone. Yeah. So either put it on the other side of your head.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
He wants the world to help him. The world is not helping madman, unfortunately, because he doesn't need help. How are you? He's calling on the UK, he's calling on Germany, he's calling on France, he's calling on Italy, he's calling on Japan, he's calling on Russia, calling on Australia. And every nation has told him, we are not getting into a war that has nothing to do with us, because you shouldn't have started a war if you didn't know what you were doing. And it's obviously that the President of the United States doesn't know what he's doing, because he's going to send the world in a global recession. And I think it's wise for the government of the day here, instead of waiting till Parliament goes back in April, to come out and make some sort of statement, because we see the power grid has collapsed in Cuba. And this economic blockade of over 60 years, Mr. Sabrina, it has not worked. The only thing that has worked is that the people have been left behind and are suffering. And I guess his bigger role is that if we push the people to their limit, they will rebel. Well, I don't think that's here nor there, because I don't think Cuban people are going to rebel.
Caller, I think what I need you to position, or either call me back when you stop, because the noise of the breeze is really, really impacting the listeners. Okay, that is fine.
Or
Wherever
I've
you are
taken
right
out
now, it's fine.
I've taken out the earbuds.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Okay.
We see one man started a war, and one man now wants the world's help to end a war that he should really have never had started. Today's latest news is that he's going to take over the Karug Island, where all of the oil from Iran flows through. So he's thinking about going in and bombing that, I guess, and taking it over totally altogether now. But that's why he didn't bomb the oil infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
He went into Venezuela. The only reason the President of the United States went into Venezuela was to get access to oil. That's it. Which other reason was there? You know, everything that happens has a trickle-down effect, and it affects everything and everyone around this world. Now, if you started a war and you claim you're the mightiest military and force in the world, I read an article a couple of days ago where it says the U.S. has borrowed $50 billion every week from the since this war started.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. national debt is at $38.9 trillion. It's unsustainable. But when you have someone hell-bent on doing what he thinks he should do, which is go around the world and bully every leader that doesn't, I guess, fall to their knees and bow to him, it's a sad case for this world, because now America was the leading force in the world. It was the number one world power after World War II. Well, I keep saying this. The dynamics of the global order of the world has changed. America no longer sits at that tandem pole with number one. Although they might think they sit at tandem pole of number one, Europe refuses to help you, and the wider world refuses to help you. What happens if Donald Trump decides to go and invade Cuba? Then what's going to happen in the Caribbean? And mostly all of the Caribbean developing nation islands are going to call for some kind of help.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose it gets to the point where the UK has to position warships in between Cayman and Cuba to stop Donald Trump from doing whatever he wants to do. Because it could come to that, and it could come to the fact that we are overflowed with Cuban migrants.
And that's why our
And I
government's
haven't-
saying that they're preparing for it. They've acquired a piece of land, should in case that becomes a reality. But it puts it to a different level. If we're seeing right now where Off-Reg had to do a statement yesterday, and just hint here, Off-Reg regulates. It doesn't set prices. They monitor market, but they don't control the prices. And retailers set their own prices. And for the purpose of gas, that was rumor yesterday, gas stations themselves decides what they charge based on their cost.
They're going to do.
So I need to make it known, not to throw Off-Reg under the bus, but to just highlight what they do. They monitor the market, but they don't control prices.
No. Cayman does not produce any oil, so we can't even have a say in it.
Mm-hmm.
Leave that for Trinidad and Guyana to do. Okay, and I've read an article a couple of weeks ago where they've started a expedition thing where they're going to drill off of Jamaica to see if there's oil there. You know, then if that's the case and they have oil, who's to say the U.S. companies are not going to jump to that either? Because they seem to want to do whatever they want to do to have control of the oil. And, you know, we here in Cayman, we have the sun 24 hours, 12 days, 12 hours of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be harvesting that. We should stop this reliance on oil, because if memory serves me correct, our oil doesn't come from Venezuela, where it would have been easier to come by. But it doesn't come that way because of the embargo that the U.S. had. And then the U.K. has to be careful with what it does too. So does the overseas territories. Because then you don't want to get blacklisted on America's list. Correct?
Right.
Or not? far as I know, our gasoline and our diesel comes somewhere off of the Gulf Coast of the United States of America. If I'm not mistaken, it's either Louisiana or Texas. And it's a longer route to come. So therefore, it costs more for it to come if that's where it comes from.
Mhm.
But then it can't come from Venezuela because of what's going on there. So we were very careful to think that this is not going to affect us. I tell you how it's already affecting us.
Mhm.
I bought 3 of the teddy bear unfiltered organic raw honey from Price Right some months ago, okay? And last week I went and it was on sale and I looked at the price. It was $19.99 when I bought it some months ago. It had not changed at all in all of those months. And it's now up to $26.
What?
Don't know why, but they went up to $26 from $20. And I looked at it. Foster's had it on sale at Price Right, and it was
Mhm.
23 something or something. So it was almost 26. It was $25 where it had gone up to. And I was shocked to see such a big increase in price.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it's from this war,
Yeah.
but what happens when prices start to go up? We don't make anything here. We import
Well,
everything.
people say that
What
every
hap-
day. People say it that
Yeah,
they're seeing it. And some people, of course,
yeah,
shop once a month. Some people shop once a week. Some people
yeah,
just shop on demand. And people are saying they
yeah,
see it in between days, a difference in the same
yeah.
products.
When I see something on sale that I use,
Mm-hmm.
I buy it and I put it down. They had some smash jam the other day. It was $6 off, and it's delicious. It's at Price Right. Usually $13. I bought two of those and put down because it's a healthy jam with dates and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
and chia seeds. It doesn't have all that crap in it
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't know when the price was going to
Gonna
go
go
that
up.
low again. I didn't know if it was going to go up
Mm-hmm.
3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So we would, I think the government needs to come out and just issue some kind of statement to just let the public know that even though we know they are monitoring the situation that's happening, it it's better to hear it from the government
Mm-hmm.
than to make us sit down and say, "Oh, we know the government is doing something." I think they need to come out and issue some sort of a statement. Say, "Look, we are watching the world event. We know these are trying times, but we are doing our best, and we have plans in place if this or this happens." That's what I think the government should
Maybe a
do to
good time for
alleviate
a
the
press
fears.
statement, and then you have members
Yes,
of
yes,
the Chamber
of
of Commerce, or representatives from the
yeah,
utility
yes,
companies,
ma'am,
or representatives from the
yeah,
retail
yes,
and from the
everything,
tourism industry, and
yes,
so that you can have these key
everything,
pillars and the financial sector as well,
yep,
knowing that these are all things that keep us going.
yeah,
It's how it's presented and shows
uh-huh.
that we are a well-oiled machine.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, and it, rather than like I say, just us amongst ourselves saying, "Oh,
Correct.
this is a government for the people." We know they're trying to do the best they can, but at the end of the day, what is best for the people? You issue some kind of statement. Better yet, have a press conference and have all the stakeholders there,
And
just like we did for COVID.
unified with the representation from the
Yes,
opposition, so it shows, because
yes,
everything that we are talking about here right now, it
it's
isn't
affecting every one of us,
exactly whether you're with the government or not, or with an
or not.
independent or not, it doesn't
That
matter.
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
What matters is that the people are kept informed.
correct.
And I hope the listening ears of the government is listening, because these are serious times. If we thought COVID was a serious time, this is even more of, I call it a desperate time,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know what that man in the great north, what he's going to do next. And it's scary to think that I've read a comment where it said, I think it was a Canadian saying, we cannot believe that Americans voted this man back in again. And the reality is, yes, they did, and this is what the outcome is. So the world needs to pay attention. Not only the world, but Cayman needs to pay attention to what's going on because it affects us all.
Yeah.
And it is sad to see what is taking place up in the Great North, because I was reading some comments today where the Canadians say, we're at war with America, and this is an economic war. And we refuse to spend our money in America because they do not respect us, and they never have. And it is true that they don't respect the Canadians. But you cannot have a leader that is hell bent on changing the world because he thinks it should be changed his way, and then everybody's supposed to come after him to help him fight a war that he started that he really should never have started. Because number one, he did not even think about the Americans in the region. Where are the evacuation flights? So you have a man that just seems to think that I'm going to do this today and this is going to solve this and that's that. Well, we're 3 weeks into a war that some say will not be done nowhere before August. And then what happens when that critical stage of summer travel comes, when nobody can travel?
If
Because
they're even going to travel, it's not even safe right now. People are
yeah,
actually rethinking whether or not maybe it's a case where we may have more people doing staycations or
yeah,
honestly
yeah,
purchasing some extra travel insurance or be prepared for the eventualities or the reality that this could play out. You could possibly get stuck.
yeah. And you know, I read the comment today also where a Canadian couple said, we were going to Walt Disney World. We've been doing that for decades, and we're going to take our great-grandchildren. We changed because you know what they said? I don't know if that man, when we get there, is going to tell us you can't get back out of the country and hold our passport. It's scary to think about it, but it's the reality we're living in.
Or that
And,
could be a
and
targeted site by some persons who are like,
by
you don't know. They look for these things. These areas,
look at
highly populated
yeah,
areas. It is this
uh-huh,
time of the year that we go for summer travels. It's family. You want to send a message. They're not worried
mm-hmm.
whether or not it's a great amount of tourists that are going to be there. They're just knowing they're
No,
targeting the U.S.
they're just
mainland.
worried
Yeah.
about the revenge,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it is. I keep going back. Remember the day when 9/11 happened? I'm still being in the lunchroom at the bank I worked at, and being shocked. And the first words out of my mouth was when my supervisor manager walked in. I was like, "Your family okay? Did you get them?"
You see?
And it is strange to understand why one man would do what he has done. But then we had another crazy man, and history repeats itself. He was called Hitler. And I liken this president to him, but with a new twist. This is a different world we're living in 70, 80 years later than it was when World War II started, you know? And we have so much more at stake even now because people are displaced all over the world. And I keep saying, Cayman might be small, but it's still home. And those of us that understand what that means knows that this is still home. And I don't know who's going to travel this summer, you know? People might, like you said, choose not to do, and staycations might become a thing of the norm here for a
this
while.
year because we're seeing what's happening.
Yeah,
And
because
now you're seeing where even major news sites are being threatened to have their licenses revoked if they actually report on the news. So even that right now is at risk. And what is it doing? It's keeping you just totally isolated from really what's happening. If you notice,
because
my
you're
images
scared about everything.
Exactly. Not only that, even including that, when I even do my news clippings here, if you notice the images that I use is predominantly local, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, because you don't want to get in any trouble.
Trouble is one, I don't want them to block my page.
Yeah, because you got to be careful.
Exactly.
That's why you see, you know, even me, wants to go travel for a trip I haven't done in nearly 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the fear is, what if something happens in America and you can't get back out?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, then you're stuck.
Yep.
You're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do?
I just
But
think
it's,
people need to be smart. If you see what's
yeah,
happening around the world, and it's obviously playing out every time. I mean, I'm hearing my phone here, even though I got it on silent,
yeah.
but you're seeing it pop up. And you're
Hmm.
seeing all of these different releases of what's being said by that leader and that president. And I don't know if it is just honestly to create chaos, if it is to create confusion, is if it is a deflection from something bigger that's happening. I really
Hmm.
don't know. But the impact and the
Yeah.
toll that it's having globally, you said it
It's having
right.
on
It's
everyone.
having on
Yeah.
everyone. And I mean, when you got reputable news stations because they're choosing to speak on what's happening,
Hmm.
what are we
The
saying we
truth?
can't report on what's happening?
No. That's what
And
they
I'm
tell
not
them.
purporting to be a news station. This is, of course, a
No.
podcast. We talk about what's
Yeah.
happening in real civic education, elevating talk. But if it even limiting that right now, and the only person comes back to mind, is who? Great
Hmm.
old
Because
Danny
he,
Warren. Danny Warren
yeah,
said us
yeah.
controlling your
And
speech.
I said this a couple of months ago to someone. I said, we're headed for a world recession, and there's really nothing that the world can do
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't start it. The Great North started it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have the Great North that has alienated their neighbor, the Canadians, Canada, for what? You look at it and you go, the Canadians have a right to be the way they are towards the Americans right now because I'm sorry, you don't treat people that way, and you don't treat the world that way either,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But he seems to think he is God for some reason, and only God will be the test of time. I pray that this war doesn't get any worse, but I don't see it finishing anytime soon unless America goes in and does something terribly, terribly to Iran to stop what's happening. And obviously, they can't stop it in 3 weeks' time. So, what does that tell you?
But
This is
caller,
going to be
the reality
played
is,
on.
even if they stop right now and he just says, look, enough of whatever it was I was trying to do,
Hmm. The damage is done,
and they're gonna retaliate.
of course. And look,
And that's why it could be prolonged unnecessarily longer when we think we're okay, we're behaving ourselves, yada yada, on this side of the
uh-huh,
world. Then
no,
they catch you
the
when you're
world, yeah.
exactly.
And look at the synagogue there in the U.S. There,
Mm-hmm. With the
the
car,
brother the
yeah,
brother come out
yeah.
to say that he was a commander that had just been killed. Well, you don't think there's a lot more of those up in America?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, come on. 9/11 was a wake up call, but I don't think the U.S. learned anything.
Hmm.
I don't think they did.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see that one man has been allowed. What happens if Donald Trump invades Cuba and China and Russia sends warships down into the Caribbean? What next? It could happen,
Exactly.
but they have just stayed neutral because I guess they don't want to get involved in it and start a war. But suppose it happens.
Mm-hmm.
We're stuck in the crosshairs. We're just down below. Then the UK would have to get involved too at
Proximity
some point.
matters. Proximity
So,
matters. Yep.
it is, we're a little gym here, but be very aware that everything that happens somewhere else in this world has its trickle down
And
effect,
effect.
and it's going to affect every one of us.
Correct.
And I just hope and pray that the war ends and it ends soon, because innocent lives have been lost and are being lost, and basically the whole world right now
Mm-hmm.
is a game for war, because you know it's sad to see what one man does, and he seems to think he can shape a new world order. I guess I don't know what that world order is. The only world order I see it as is that America has been left with its tongue hanging out. And I told one of my good bus drivers, public transport drivers that I've known for a couple of decades from when I started to work in banking years ago. We had a conversation yesterday, and he said, and I said to him, I said, unfortunately, young man, let me tell you what I see and how I see it, because this is how I see it. The good old American North, the man that thinks he owns the world and can tell the world what to do and when to cough and when not to sneeze.
Mm-hmm.
I liken him to a great white. He has bit something that he cannot chew. And I leave you there because that's how I see it.
There we go.
This man has created a war that is not going to finish. It's just going to get worse, and it's going to entangle a lot more countries and a lot more people. And he doesn't have to worry at the end of the day. I tell people, he can get whatever he wants ordered. If he wants fresh Alaskan salmon flown in for the day and caviar and lobster, he can get whatever he orders. He's not worried about the poor man. He's worried about him. And that's the sad reality, just like Hitler was. Worried about himself and not worried about anybody else that is in the crosshairs to how it affects people's lives, because it's affecting all of our lives daily. And I just pray it ends very soon. That's my prayer and my hope, because that and many other wars need to end. But time will be the test of everything, and I pray that he will get some sort of words in his brain to make him understand that starting wars does not help people. It just creates a bigger problem for the world to try to solve, because he's gone and started a war and no one wants to join him in it. So I'll leave you there.
Thank you very much.
Like I say, I pray that the government comes out with a press meeting and with all the stakeholders, because all of us have to be concerned. We all have to, because this affects all of us. Because if you're planning a trip and you want to go to America for the summer and you're scared of going, it's a reality.
Mm-hmm.
Something could happen wherever you go.
Right.
Who's to say somebody not going to come do what they did for 9/11 again?
There we go.
We don't know what's going on. We don't know these terrorist cells. And if that one is in the U.S. and he did what he did, and his brother can say he was a commander, that's why this one killed and went after these, then there we go. So, hey, man, be safe on the road.
Always a pleasure.
You be safe,
too.
and you have a good evening, Miss
And
Sabrina.
likewise, my
And
lovely.
God bless.
Take care.
Alrighty.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I want to thank that caller for their contribution. And even though they were on their evening walk, I thank them for contributing, and for all of you who comment here. But that brings us, yes, to the close of this episode of Sabrina Speaks, as pretty much headlines and stuff keeps flooding in. And it's amazing what trajectory we're actually taking right now. Thank you to all of my WhatsApp commenters as well, sharing links in the realities. And of course, there's also news that continues to be posted on the CMR Cayman Mall Road platform. So I encourage you to keep up, and also keep up with your local media stations for the latest updates as well. But tonight, to be honest, the whole conversation wasn't about a rumor. It was about a possibility. It was about a warning and a reminder that the world in itself is changing, and we must change along with it, as we have seen here with some of the conversations and comments being made. But the question isn't whether $7 gas is here today. The question is, what if it's here tomorrow? Or next week? And most importantly, will we be ready? I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I want to encourage you to please stay informed and stay empowered. And as always, keep speaking, because they are listening. Thank you all to my commenters. Tartarian, be fair. To be fair, things were never good. It's not like we are all happy and doing well. That's quite true, Tartarian. You are so right there. I want to say good night to everyone. Please be safe on the roads. Thank you for joining me again, and I'm looking forward to joining you for another enlightening, informative episode of Sabrina Speaks tomorrow, as we continue to remain vigilant and continue to empower one another. Until tomorrow, be safe, have a good night, love you lots, and you're more than welcome. Good night, everyone.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.